Alright, the devs just ended their live stream for Dead by Daylight, and we got all the new information on the killer and the survivor, so we're going to go ahead and jump into it. If you watched the reveal trailer, you know that the new killer is the Plague, but we're going to go ahead and talk about her perks along with the survivors and the new ability that she has. Now, I'm not going to get into the backstories here. I'm sure there will be lots of videos covering that. I just wanted to get out to you guys what the abilities are. Her first ability, not her perks, but her actual ability will be Vile Purge, and I'll go ahead and let the devs explain it to you. But before I show it, keep in mind that the background noise has nothing to do with my recording. That had to do with the Twitch stream, so I guess they had a fan running while they were doing the stream or something, so you can really hear it.
Okay, so the killer power is called the Vile Purge, and I think we saw a quick glimpse of it earlier, but there it is. So this killer vomits.
It's killer vomit.
This is the vomit killer.
There you go.
Dwight seems to not have a good time either.
No one's having a good time about this. So this power has a few parts. There's the vomit itself, which creates sickness in the survivors. As they get vomited on, or once they become infected by the vomit, sickness grows depending on what you do. Running, exerting yourself, doing interactions will make you sicker and sicker until you become, I don't know what the current word for it is, fully sick, which really weakens the survivor. There's, as you can see, objects that get infected by the vomit, so you can actually run around and vomit on all kinds of stuff, and that will sicken survivors who interact with it. And once they're sick, survivors have only one way to cure themselves, which is by using the Pool of Devotion, which you can see right there.
Which we'll refer from now on as fountain.
Fountains. They use them. And so you wonder, well, that seems like it's pretty easy for survivors to deal with. You get sick, you use a fountain. Of devotion, which is that the killer can use a fountain that has been corrupted by survivors to gain her own power and to gain the corrupt purge, which I'm not sure if we have the footage of, but the corrupt purge damages survivors who are touched by it. So it really changes the dynamic of what you'll use the vomit power for.
So to recap there, it starts out as the Vile Purge, which they can spray onto the survivors, and anything that survivor touch or pukes on gets sick, and I'm assuming that they could directly puke on somebody else, or if somebody tried to heal them, they would also be infected with the purge. Now, if they come into contact with anything they touch, say a pallet that somebody else ran near, they'll become infected as well. Now, the devs said that you get more sick as you run and interact with things, so I'm assuming that means you'll get slower and maybe even lose the ability to fast vault. It could even slow down how good you are on a gen. Maybe it makes your skill checks harder. I'm not exactly sure. They never said. Now, once you're infected, the only way to cure yourself is to use the Pool of Devotion, which is the fountains. Obviously, most people will just end up calling them fountains. But once you cure yourself with it, the fountain then becomes corrupt, which then the killer can drink from and gain a new power. Now, they didn't show any footage of the new one, but it is called the Corrupt Purge, and all they gave us was that it will damage survivors that are touched by it, and I'm assuming it could spread just like the Vile Purge. I'm assuming this would take over time, and anything that you do as an interaction or running or anything like that would just make it spread faster, damaging you faster. Now, before we get into perks, let's give out some information. Now, this stuff is still in development. This could be changed at any moment, but she moves at regular speed, but once she charges her attack, she'll start to slow down, but once she's holding it, she'll pick back up to regular speed. Again, that's still in development. It could change when the actually drops as DLC. So now let's jump into perks, the first one being Dark Devotion, and here are the devs to tell you more about it.
Dark Devotion.
All right. Okay, so the first perk of the Plague is Dark Devotion. Do you want me to read it out, or do we have it here?
Well, we see the footage, right? You can describe it. You can read it. Go ahead.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and read it. The display of your powers creates a whirlwind of panic that spreads throughout the land. You become obsessed with one survivor. Hitting the obsession with your basic attack causes the obsession to emit a 32-meter terror radius for a few seconds. During that time, your terror radius is reduced to 0. The effect can only be triggered with a cooldown. I'm being a little bit elusive about the exact numbers. Don't worry, guys, you're going to get them soon. And the obsession does hear the terror radius they emit during the duration of the effect.
So yes, this is another obsession perk, and it is actually a very useful perk. So if you hit your obsession with your basic weapon, you transfer your terror radius onto them, and you no longer have a terror radius, which is perfect for hillbillies because they love not having a terror radius. So what this means is if you hit your obsession, they now have the terror radius and can actually scare their teammates out of hiding, while you don't have one and can sneak up on them and now get them. This is also useful in a way that if you end up transferring your terror radius to your obsession and they get away, people won't come to heal them, and if you down them, people will stay away thinking that you're camping them or that you're slugging. The next perk is Infectious Fright.
Is Infectious Fright. The cries of the unfaithful make your heart leap. Any survivors that are within the killer's terror radius, while another survivor is put into the dying state by basic attack, will yell and reveal their current location to the killer for a few seconds.
Now, it's no secret that the devs lean more towards the killers rather than balancing the game, and this one kind of shows that, along with the next perk that we'll get into in a minute. So basically what this one means is if they're within range, when you down somebody, you'll know where the other person is. Now, this makes the other perk even more useful. If the one that you down is your obsession, then people aren't likely to go and heal them unless they're in a Survive with Friends group, because they'll think that the killer is still on the obsession rather than chasing the other person around. But the devs do have a sense of humor, and development, this was actually called the Shit Your Pants perk, which I quite enjoy, and I think that should have stayed its name. And lastly, for the killer, we have Corrupt Intervention.
And the final plague perk is Corrupt Intervention. The 3 generators located furthest from you are blocked by the entity for a few seconds at the start of the trial. Survivors cannot repair the generators for the duration. So essentially, this makes it so that at the beginning of the game, there are less generators to patrol, to increase the chances that you're going to find somebody and initiate a chance early in the game.
So at the start of the game, 3 gens that are the furthest from you will not be able to be fixed for a certain amount of time. This will increase the likelihood that you'll run into a survivor unless they want to stay and camp the gen until the entity's gone. And I think that does kind of show that they're leaning more towards the killers, because obviously now the survivors can't just do gens and get it over with. They have to go to certain gens. They have to get close to the killer. They can't work on anything far away from them. Next, we're going to go ahead and get into the new survivor and what her perks will be. The new survivor's name is Jane, and again, I'm not getting into all the details of the backstory. There'll be plenty of other videos on that from everybody else. Now, her first perk is Solidarity, and with her perks, I can see some actually pretty good combo going on with this one, so let's go ahead and let the devs explain it.
Thank you.
There we go. All right. Jane's first perk is Solidarity. Sharing painful experiences has the power to heal. While injured, healing a survivor also heals you at a certain conversion rate.
Yeah,
That
I was
means
going to scream right away.
not 100%.
What? Yeah.
Not 100%.
Okay.
Not
I'll let the cat out of the bag
100%.
here. What we have right now is 50%. So when you heal somebody, you also get 50% of that healing back on yourself.
So obviously when you heal people, you get healed yourself. The conversion rate so far is 50%. I'm assuming that would be at tier 3 though. So this is more likely to make healing others a more priority. And if you have a perk such as Will Make It, I'm assuming that it would heal you as fast as you heal them, so you can actually heal yourself even faster. Now, it's important to note that's what they have it right now. Again, the PTB will be coming out, people will give feedback, and they'll go ahead and try and adjust it accordingly. So it may not always be 50%, it may be more than 50%, it may be lower than 50%. Her next perk is Poised, and again, this is another one that is best combined with a perk that we already have, so I'll go ahead and let them explain it, and then I'll go ahead and tell you the team up.
The second perk for Jane Romero is Poised. Achieving goals boosts your confidence. After a generator is completed, you leave no scratch marks for 10 seconds.
So this is actually kind of useful. When you get a gen done for 10 seconds, you leave no scratch marks. Now, the obvious thing to combine this with is something like Sprint Burst, so you can get the hell out of there without having to worry about leaving any scratch marks. But this perk might be more useful than the devs let on, because they said when you complete goals. Now, obviously this means gens, but it could also work for Jigsaw's traps, or the fountain itself, and who knows what else. Maybe even on future events when you harvest something. Now, they didn't say that it would be that way, but the fact that they used goals makes me think that it could go towards other things, maybe even healing. healing yourself or healing others. If they don't even have that implemented in development, of course we're going to let you know when the PTB comes out if we can. But if they don't have it during the PTB, I would hope that, you know, they look back at feedback and other people are telling them to add it for at least other things like opening the doors or something like that. And the final perk, Head On, which you should always apply directly to the forehead.
Wait for it. Oh.
Head on. When your mind is set, there better be no one standing in your way. After standing in a locker for 3 seconds, the perk activates. While the perk is activated, perform a rush action to leave a locker to stun the killer for 3 seconds if they are standing within range, and that causes the exhausted status effect, and it cannot be used while exhausted.
Yes, the white mains rejoice. Now you have a reason to hide in the lockers. You're not scared, you're just strategic. So if you're in a locker for 3 seconds, I believe that would be tier 3. When you come out of it, you'll stun the killer for 10 seconds, which again, I believe is tier 3. This will cause the exhaust status effect, so it'll be a while before you're able to do it again, I would presume. I think we should dub this one the Huntress Nightmare perk. It's always a good thing when you open up a locker and there's a survivor in it, but now they can fight back. But remember, you do have to hop out of the locker. You have to sprint out of it in order to activate this perk. If somebody opens a locker, you're fucked. They're going to grab you either way. So that does it for the perks, but before we go, we have to talk about the PTB and its release date. Here are the devs on it.
PTB will release sometime this week. Sometime this week.
So by sometime this week, it more than likely means tomorrow because they do their updates on Tuesday. I'm not sure why they said sometime this week, because if it would be next Tuesday, they would have just told us next week. So more than likely, we'll be getting the PTB dropped tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then obviously it would be next Tuesday. So make sure you guys stick around the channel, because those of you who have already been here already know, and for those of you who are just now finding this video on the channel, when a PTB comes out, I always go through the files and I bring up whatever new cosmetics are being added to the game. So we'll go ahead and see what a Prestige 3 killer and survivor look like before we even get a chance to see them in the actual game. And we'll also see what other cosmetics they plan to add to the game. And obviously we're going to bring you content from the PTB, whether it's me over here on this channel or if it's my friend Stubbornly over on her Twitch channel where she streams. If you guys want to go there because I'm not getting it out fast enough, just go to the link in the description.
Yay!
But anyways, you guys know the routine. If you like the video, leave a like, share, and if you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel and come on back for more.